Hello, it's Joe Glines. In this regular expression video, we're just going to demonstrate, give an example of how you can use it and why you'd use it. And so I have here, this is a naming convention system for our email campaigns. And there's a pattern you can kind of see when you look at it. Looks like 3 letters followed by a dash, and then the letters UCID, some numbers. Let's vary this a little bit so we don't have the same amount of numbers every time, which of course makes it the length a little bit different, which is one of the strengths of regular expressions, right? Because otherwise you could just basically parse it on dashes and not have to worry about, especially if there were other things in there, like in here, if there were dashes, it might end up breaking something. But looking for, here's an A, and this is the language code, the region, the type of the campaign, the date it was sent, and then a nice descriptive name of it, right? So I want to have a regular expression that will parse this out for me. And so I'm going to start off getting the first 3, and I'm going to write this not in a smart way at first, and I'll go back and tweak it after I get the fundamentals down and getting it working quickly. So there's first things begin with, and let's go ahead and anchor that, right? So this anchor is going to begin here at the beginning. This is where I'd want to turn on my multi-line, and let's also turn on case insensitive, just because who knows, right? Sometimes it may be maybe the thing that got passed through was not uppercase, which it does look like most of these are, but it may not be. So back into here, so I have a dash, and then I'm going to say the letters, I want to grab this next part again, so UCID, I'm going to put back in my paren just so I can see what I'm doing here, and then it looks like there's digits. Now here, 1, 2, 3, and now before I always had 4. I'm going to go back and fix this later, followed by an A, right, and then a dash, and then it looks like 2 letters. So let's put our brackets in here, our parens in again, and I'm going to say 2 letters, so W /W. And I should be showing this here so I can see it kind of filling it out as I go through. And then another dash, WW, and then 3 letters. So 1, 2, 3, and then a dash, and then another 3 letters, it looks like, consistently. So that is going to be my type. And then it looks like I got 6 numbers, so I'll capture that one and say /D 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, followed by a dash, and then basically everything to the rest of the line. And if I wanted to, I could throw in this $sign, that would anchor it to the right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I changed these numbers here, so this is why it isn't quite going to work, because not every number, stands for unique calendar ID, this number, and in real life it fluctuated. It was really between 1 to infinity, but generally once you get past the first 99 it was between 2, and we never got over 10,000, so it was up to 4 digits. So let me go back in here, and I'm going to change this to be, let's put in our brackets, and I'm going to say a minimum of 2, just to I could put 1, it doesn't really matter, and I'm going to say the max of 4. Right, so now we're capturing it all, and it's breaking this out. If I had wanted the A in it, I could just move this A over to here. Right now the A will be on each one of those, but I actually wanted to isolate it without the A. And in reality, I don't actually want the UCID letters either. I want it just like this. I want that numeric thing all on its own. And that way this right here is coming out separately. Now let's also, if you saw my other one on doing named regular expressions, they can be very, very convenient. And I think, let me see, is it question mark, P, bracket, and here I'm going to say UCID, yes. So see how that just named instead of having the second one? And I'm going to copy this just because I'm lazy, put this here, and let me go ahead and copy that so I don't have to keep doing that every time. And so in that, I'm going to put in the business name. I'll just say biz, And over here, so again, pop it in there, and that is going to be language. And then over here, that is going to be the region. And let's go a little bit more over. Here is going to be type. And here is going to be the date sent. And descriptive name is here. So that's good enough. Alright, now let's also, even though this worked perfectly fine, let's clean this up a little bit more and shorten it, where I know this is always going to be 3, so instead of having the /w/w, I'm going to change this to say, 3, right? And I know that pattern comes in a couple other times here, so this time it's 2. And since there's really only 2, I'm not really going to save anything there, but I just find it easier to read when I do it this way, once you get used to it. So there's 2, region I believe is 3 also, so there's the 3, type is also 3, and date sent was 6 digits, right? So I can lose 5 of these, and let's change that to be 6. And descriptive doesn't have a quantifier, a value, a number. So now we're still grabbing the same stuff. I've just truncated the length of it a bit, made it a little easier to tweak if I ever changed to one to say, oh, this is actually 3 to 4, right? It'd be easy to add that in there instead of trying to count how many W's, especially in the digit one. But this way, I can go through and iterate over every line and parse them out and put them into different columns, do whatever I want with them. I have them isolated, and it's because I created a very strong naming convention, it made it really easy to also use a regular expression on it. The two go hand in hand. The better your naming convention, the easier it is to parse it out. I probably could have just parsed out in the dashes, but I like having it look for specific things, because if I looked for just certain words, someone might have used the word car, elsewhere. Some people will look for if there's a flag getting a certain word in there, but it's really kind of risky because it's easy to mess up. Also, if you just say, look for the, 3 that have certain things in them, sometimes they end up reappearing elsewhere, and giving it this structure makes it much, much less likely that I will have a false positive. Of course, it can break, but it is a better way to build structure into control for things. Thank you.